right before we played, they had 3 bands. They got like progressively like filthier. Like I can't remember the one band's name, but they were like full on, and the crowd was like loving every single second of it. So, and we were coming up next. I was like, we're fucked. Like we don't have a single hard song that can compete with this. So we went up there and played our little cheesy music, and like literally like no claps, just like crossed arms.
Hello, welcome to 3 Gigs, the podcast that tells the stories of 3 shows that have had a profound effect on the performer's life and career. Their first show, their worst show, and their best show. I'm your host, Dominic Davy, and today our guest is Jawsh Hotta, guitarist and vocalist for Trashed Ambulance. This episode of 3 Gigs is brought to you by FreshCleanTees.com. It works like a shave club, but they send you t-shirts, super awesome t-shirts. And they have a special offer for all the listeners of 3 Gigs. Save 20% off your first order by going to FreshCleanTees.com and entering the coupon code GIG at checkout. That's FreshCleanTees.com with offer code GIG. Trashed Ambulance originally formed in 2014 in Red Deer, Alberta. And they've survived all the same member changes and hangovers that millions of bands have had to suffer before them, but this year has seen them signing up with Montreal-based Thousand Islands Records and releasing a full-length A Dime for Every Time on the label. And most recently, they released a brand new EP called Instant. Jawsh Hotta, who also performs in the band Loser Points and hosts the Punk Normal podcast, happens to be a 3 Gigs fan, which I think, of course, is awesome. And he took time out of his busy schedule to talk to us about his 3 Gigs, even though he was worried his stories might not be as epic as others on the show. But see, that's just it, Josh. Every performer has a story, and your stories start with your first show ever.
Very first show I ever did, I guess. I was in high school. My band called Gorbachev, which is probably the dumbest name ever, but it existed. And I don't know. I didn't even listen to Gore, so I don't know why I named the band that. But anyways, we played lots of just house parties and stuff, and not really talent shows, but just kind of around the holidays. They let people do whatever they wanted to do and play a few songs. And actually, we didn't want to do a traditional Christmas song, so we wrote our own called The Ballad of Jesus. We played that, and but I wouldn't really count those as shows. I guess the first one we did was our grad party. So there was a few hundred people there, a bunch of drunk teens. And I just remember the guitar player at the time, he's really preaching, like, make sure we're not drunk for this, take this seriously. So we all kind of, took it easy and didn't get drunk. And then he rolls in just frickin' 3 sheets of the wind, just wasted. I don't think his guitar was in tune for half the set.
Oh no!
But it was still really fun, and I tease him about it to this day because we're so close friends.
That is really funny. It's funny how sometimes that happens. Like, people are sitting there like, okay, everyone's got to take this seriously. Everyone's got to buckle down. This is real. This is serious. And then they're the ones that get trashed because they're generally the most nervous because that's why they're saying all that stuff, driving everyone crazy.
Like, he literally couldn't even stand up. It was amazing. He played anything even resembling a song.
Oh, that's a bummer. But you obviously, from the house shows and the grad party, they were obviously fun enough for you to want to keep doing this, right? Like,
yeah, totally. I mean, I was from a small little town in Saskatchewan, Canada, so wasn't a lot going on, so we kind of had to make our own fun. So that's what we did.
That's generally the story. I mean, even I'm from a small town north of San Francisco, and I was just like, that's pretty much what happened. Like, we were always bored, so the thing to do was to go to the local club that we had, which is called the Phoenix Theater. we were lucky to have an all ages place, and we would go there, and every weekends, all the weekends there would be shows. So eventually, you just kind of wanted to you have your own shows. So that's like a lot of bands were forming back then, around that place. So, because what else?
Yeah, I think you had more bands to go see than where I was from.
Probably.
Have you guys toured Canada?
Yeah, we have. It's been a long time. We toured.
And did you notice all the space and how it takes forever to get from the next city compared to America?
I did notice that, but keep in mind, I'm from the West Coast, man. Things are pretty spread out. It takes a minute to get around. Like, it's not like the East Coast where everything's like right next to each other. Those guys get spoiled. They go, oh, we're going on tour. We're playing every day in a new place, and it's all like 4-hour drives, 2-hour drives. For me out here, it's like at least, it could be like 8 to 10 hours to the next major city. So I totally understand. But yes, I did drive the monster. That's
comparable.
Yeah, I drove the monster drives of Canada, that's for sure.
Yeah, did you guys go across the whole nation?
Yeah. I back when I did it, I toured with a band called Downway, and
oh really? We just opened for them on Canada Day. They're back together.
They're back together. I was just in Montreal with the Vandals. I was tour managing them, and I was asking people about Downway because I was like, whatever happened to them? I lost touch with them. They were such cool guys. It was a cool band. See, you finally told me. Somebody told me. I'm so glad they're back together.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're working on a new album too, but don't quote me on that. Yep.
Well, good for them. I hope so. They were great guys.
Actually, yes, they are, because they're releasing it on, Belvedere.
Yeah.
Like, Steve Rawls, I guess he has a label in Calgary, and I guess they're putting it on that. So.
Hey, that's awesome.
Stay tuned. You'll get your. Why am I promoting them?
I know you just gave Downway a major plug, which is cool. I mean, that's cool. You at least let me know what was happening with them. I remember them. But more about you guys. So those were your first shows, were house shows and graduation parties. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, I like how small scenes will just sort of create their own scene, and it'll build up around that. So that obviously gave you the bug and made you want to play, and you kept going with it. So tell me a story about what was one of the best shows you've ever played.
I was trying to think of that. I mean, I could do the old, when we opened, like, Trash Ambulance opened for Face to Face last year. And, that was a great time, but I wouldn't really say that was our show, obviously. There were like 500 people there, but I don't think they were there to see Trash. Some of them liked us, but
see, that's the thing.
We didn't sell the place out.
Yeah, but when you played, that was your show. If that was, you could tell. It's like I said, it's your story. It's like, obviously, if it was one of your favorites, you obviously converted some people. People got into you guys. I mean, I've had some great shows opening up for other bands, man. Like, they weren't, and I've spent a lot more time playing in front of crowds that were not there for me than I played in front of crowds that came for me.
Yeah, I'll take it. They definitely weren't there for us, but a few people did come up and say they didn't know that we were local, and didn't know that there's bands like that in Alberta still going. So I don't know if I've seen them since, though, fuckers. But
it's funny how it works like that. Well, you play those. You open for bands and you hope you grab a few people. It's kind of almost like this ratio math.
Yeah, we definitely have. I think sometimes people are just lazy. They don't pay attention.
People are lazy. That is true.
But I'm not going to count this as my best show, but just a funny side note, I was around Halloween. Mm-hmm. And so we were all kind of dressed up when we played Face to Face, and Belvedere actually played that show too. They were not dressed up. And just after the show, I went as Randy Marsh. I had like a wig and the mustache and the green shirt or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then my mustache fell off like halfway through the set. And then, so I just kind of looked like a dude with greasy hair and a tucked-in shirt. So I'm pretty sure when I'm talking to them, they're just like, because I had friends that are like, what's with your hair in that picture? Like, why didn't you get a haircut? I'm like, that was a wig. Like, it was Halloween. I'm pretty sure they just thought I was a dork with a bad haircut. But
oh, that's hilarious.
It was a fun show.
Well, I know the face-to-face guys are cool, but they're kind of dorks too. I mean, honestly, if you play music you're kind of a dork. Like, I've actually called people out on it, like the coolest musician ever, the coolest guitar players, or anybody. I was like, dude, if you can play, that means at some point in your life you were a big enough loser where you had nothing better to do than learn that instrument and learn it well. So if you had something to do, you wouldn't have had time to play that thing. So if you can play, you were a dork for a long time at least. You did some time as a nerd. So you ain't fooling anybody. We're all nerds here.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right. So if Face to Face was one of your favorite shows, but you don't want to count it, what's a good story of one of your favorite shows?
Okay, I used to play in a band called Chimp Change in Another Life, and we did a CD release one time, and kind of this old bag bar attached to a hotel, and just kind of expected our friends to show up.
Mm-hmm.
Like there wasn't even a stage, like we just playing in the corner, and it turned out that there was a lot of people there that we didn't really know, and it was just packed. And the bass player at the time ended up getting his teeth smacked by the mic, that old
it's the worst
terrible
feeling.
thing that happens to us from time to time.
The worst feeling I mean, it's not usually at the best times when people are going crazy, but it's the worst feeling.
And anyways, later on he asked us with a straight face if the band was going to pay to get his crown. We don't have dental care with this band, man, but maybe next band you get in.
Oh, that's funny. Are you kidding me?
He was 100% serious, and we're like, I don't think so, man. Yeah, it was really cool that the bar was it wasn't like a huge bar, but it was packed with people that we didn't know, and everyone was into the music, and it's a hell of a time.
Isn't that the best? Like when you get to some place you think it's gonna be a wash. It's so funny how many times that's happened to me. Like I just remember playing with one band. I played a house party in New Mexico, and I was like, really? Out in the middle of nowhere, we don't know anybody there. But turns out the place was packed, and it went off, and it was one of the best merch nights on the whole tour. And it was just this random house in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and you just there were a bunch of bands that showed up. It was full. It was like one of those 80s movies. That's how crazy it was. Like it was just packed. People were drinking. People were going nuts. We had no stage.
Swinging from the chandelier.
Yeah, no, literally crappy PA would just go for it, and everybody just went crazy. And those are the best times, man. Like sometimes those are the best. It's cool that it happened for you guys at this place. Like, there's an energy to the crowd when they go off.
Yeah, 100%. People are just drunk and being ridiculous, and just get to sit there and enjoy the show. Try not to get your teeth knocked out.
Yeah, dude, that's definitely kind of a problem when there's no barrier between you and them. It can get pretty crazy. I mean, it's great that it's crazy, but it's like trying to sing into a microphone is like taking your dental care into your hands. But that's
kind of like frickin' Keanu Reeves now. I'm good at dodging that shit.
You're pulling a Matrix. That's awesome. You're like, whoosh. That's awesome. That's hilarious.
I've had some amazing, near misses, as they call them.
Yeah,
in the industry.
that stuff hurts, man. That really does hurt. It's no good. It's no good at all. Like I said, I've gotten tagged. I had one where the microphone was shocking me, and not only was it shocking me, but then people went off and it slammed into my mouth a couple times. So not only am I getting hurt in the mouth, but I'm getting full on shocked. As I'm trying to play, and it's just like a single. I think I literally had, no joke, I mean, it sounds like I'm making this up, but I think I had a single tear kind of go down my cheek. I just couldn't help it. My eyes started watering because it was just too much. I wasn't crying, but it was like this one tear went down while we're playing. I'm like, oh god, I gotta sing again. Here we go. And it's like zzz. It was the worst.
I've had a few experiences with that, with the older building, just ungrounded, getting the zap. Yeah. One time our bass player decided that he was going to take matters into his own hand and take his sock off and put it on her because he kept getting shocked in the lips. And the sound lady did not like that at all. Lost her shit on him.
For trying to keep himself from getting shocked? I wonder if that worked, though. Did it work?
Putting his dirty sock on the mic is the way she saw it.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. But did it actually work? I mean, he's the one that's got to put his mouth up on it.
I don't know. He just started to do it, and she interrupted him immediately and yelled at him for a while.
I don't know if that would have worked, though. That would have been amazing if it had, but I'm not sure it would. I'm trying to think. Would that
maybe, because you're
not
putting your mouth right on the metal anymore.
That's true.
Bit of a insulation.
Ah, God, man, that's the worst. People don't know. People don't know. You try to tell them like how bad that feeling is, how bad it is to get hit in the teeth with a full-on microphone or shocked in your mouth. Like it's one thing.
You do the shock too, because you're just getting into singing, you're just feeling it, and it's like, fuck.
Yeah, it's just like gets you. It's so
just
funny.
Boner down immediately.
It's so funny. Like you get spoiled when you get you get to do bigger shows and stuff. You don't have to deal with that stuff as much, but like. I don't know, man. Everybody does their time with with the rough PA that's just not grounded, and you're just, oh man. And then like I said,
I'm still living it, man.
You're still living it, dude. I'm not even gonna tell. I still do too, man. Not every band is like, not every band I'm involved with like gets all the love. Some of the bands I've gotten to be in do. Like there are plenty of my bands that have to play wherever. So. It's just a thing, I'm not an AFI, dude. I'm still slugging it along at times. So let it not be. I don't want to mislead anybody. But that's cool, like but still, even despite those moments of getting crunched into the teeth or shocked the shit out of yourself, those small those shows where like a good crowd that just goes for it and gets it is always the best. Those are like the best moments.
Especially when it's not just your buddies or your brother or whatever. People you don't know that are just actually into it. You're like, oh, maybe this isn't pointless.
yeah, no, because it's easy to get discouraged, man. Like it's easy to get frustrated, but then when you see this crowd and they care about it, and like they have no reason to care about you at all because they don't know you, they've never heard you. These aren't like songs that they love. They don't know. And then they just go for it. And they're into it. It's like so validating. It means everything.
Yeah, exactly. Makes up for the 20 other shitty ones you'll have.
Yeah, well, that's what...
Maybe not that many. Just kidding. We have great shows.
Well, that's a good segue.
You should all come see it.
Yeah, you're just convincing people not to come. Don't come.
Don't even bother. There's no one there.
Terrible. Single tear.
Get shocked. Everybody's crying, even the singers.
It's just sobbing. You just cry. I'm not crying because I'm emo. I'm crying because it hurts. No, you guys. I've seen you guys. I've heard you guys. It's worth everybody. It's worth going to see them. Definitely go.
Aww.
But so that's actually a good segue. So if that is your best show, getting hit in the mouth, having people I didn't get hit in the mouth, so it was funny for me. That's why it was the best show. I watched my bandmate get socked in the mouth with a microphone and lose part of his teeth. I know bands that would describe that kind of show as their best shows, even one of their bandmates getting hit. But what would be one of your worst shows of all time?
I guess there's a couple. I got to go back to the Chim Change days for one of them.
Yeah, tell me.
I don't know if I should name. There's a certain fest. I don't know if I should name it.
It's up to you.
But the guys really hyped it up, and like there was a Facebook page for it, and it said there was like 1,000 people coming. There's gonna be 2 DJ booths and like 20 bands, and it was like, they offered us whatever. I won't tell you how much, but money for us that seemed like to make it worth it to go up there. Plus, we thought there's gonna be all these people, right?
Right.
And we get up there, and it's way up north in northern Alberta. It was a 6-hour drive from Red Deer. And we get up there, and it's at like kind of like a ball diamond outside of this town, like not even in the town. And there had like rows and rows of porta potties, but it was a ghost town. There was nobody there, like just people. There was a few other bands there, and like I guess the DJs were ripping around somewhere, and literally there's no one there. But we still played. We played out on a flatbed trailer out in the open, which I hadn't done since my grad party I mentioned earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So that was cool, but there was only like a handful of people watching, so that part wasn't cool.
Man, that's heartbreaking. Like, that promoter must have just been bummed.
Yeah, I'm not sure, and it was kind of funny too, because as it got darker, the DJs are still going. They still had two DJ booths, even though there's no one there. And we walked over to the one, and the guy's still just like giving her like as hard as he can, and there's literally nobody paying attention to what he was doing. So it was such a bizarre thing. I know you don't trust Facebook for its attendance, but when it says there's 800 people coming, you know, even like a tenth of that would have been decent, right? But there was literally nobody there.
You know, that's one of the things that is crazy, and that's like just a tragedy. That's such a bummer. You had your own fire festival out up there.
Ja Rule had a hand in this, I know.
I know, he was behind it all. But you know, it's funny because one of the things, like, this is where I start dating myself, like how old I am, but one of the things that I find most troubling about the scene as it is now is the over-reliance on the internet. Not that it's not a great place to rely on. I think it's important. It's fantastic. But a lot of bands nowadays don't flyer. Not like they used to when I was in young bands. Like when I was starting out, when I was a teenager, and we were playing punk shows. We didn't really have the internet, so we had to get out there. I mean, I sound like an old man, but the thing that I try to convey to people is like, dude, it does work. Like handing out handbills, like telling people to come to your show, inviting all your friends, as long as you're not playing every single weekend, and like promoting it person to person at other shows and putting flyers up, because it's like people nowadays, I notice a lot of people will just put up a Facebook group and expect people to show, and just because it says a ton of people are coming doesn't mean it's gonna.
I think when Facebook events first started going and Facebook was newer, it was a lot more effective. I think now it's just people are too inundated by a billion of those invites that half the time they don't even really process what they're looking at, right? It's I don't find it useful at all.
No, it's not really. And like,
I mean, you got to do it still, but you definitely can't count on it at all.
Yeah, and like it's kind of frustrating, at least to me, like nowadays, like Facebook's like metrics are so based on like boosting posts. So you could have a ton of followers and not all of them are seeing your content unless people start liking it. So like every person,
unless you pay.
Yeah, unless you pay.
That's not even a guarantee.
Yeah, that's not a guarantee, and it's not a guarantee that, you know, when people start liking it. But if you can get something where your friends are all liking the thing and then it gets out there, but you're not even reaching the amount of people anymore. But if you don't do it, nobody sees it. So you gotta, you really gotta just cover your bases. But it's definitely one of the more frustrating things that since I started playing music and touring around playing different shows, that I see is one of the things that I notice is that a lot of local bands, a lot of like regional bands, I don't like the term local, let's say regional bands that are maybe not touring large nationwide places yet, are just not flyering or not promoting in the old way, like the way everybody used to. And it does work. And then they complain that nobody shows up, but all they do is put up a Facebook event. And I'm like, you gotta do a little more than that, bro. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, you guys didn't get your following by just, putting your music out and then hoping people listen to it. You actually had to make people listen to it back then, right? So
no, we worked.
Same thing's kind of like you had to get out there and let people know who you were, and I think that that's becoming relevant again.
I think so too. I agree.
Sending off a Facebook invite ain't gonna help.
No, it's like you gotta put some effort into the event that you're doing. Like you have to think of, in terms of what you're about to do, what you're playing, what you're performing. Like you're going out there and making an event, and you're trying to get, your friends to care about it, you to care about it. I mean, if you're a band that plays every single thing that happens, every single chance you get, like, people are going to get sick of it. But if you can make your shows an event where all your friends show up and they bring friends, and then the other bands bring people, and people flyer it and you promote it and people come out, that's how you start. Like, that's how it starts to happen. I think a lot of people try to shortcut that, and I never proposed to know everything and to be some sort of expert. I just knew that, like, if you gave me an instrument, I'd play the shit out of it and I'd give it my all. And if you gave me a show, I try to tell everybody I know to come out and hang out with me and be entertaining enough that they'd want to,
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Definitely.
But yeah,
I guess I should, I haven't told a trash story, so my band's going to be like, what the fuck, man? You went on there and talked about every band but Trash Ambulance. So,
fair enough. What would you, like, you should. You can tell.
I'll tell a bad story.
You tell a bad story? Okay, I was going to say, wherever you wanted, I'd put it. But, alright, if it's a bad story, I'll let it play out. This is what, give me a worst show for Trash Ambulance.
This is back when we were a three-piece with a different bass player. And we were different. Definitely, I think that we're more leaning towards the skate punk now. I don't know, really sure what we were back then. We were just trying to figure it out. But we had some friends that played kind of like more street punk stuff. I don't want to say gutter punk. Is that derogatory?
No, is it?
They have a lot of spikes and on their clothes and their heads, and good guys, but a little more aggressive stuff than what we were playing. And they were playing a fest in Edmonton. I don't want to name it again. Well, I'll name it. I'm not really saying that there's anything wrong with it. It's called Punks in the Basement Fest. And so we got in contact with the promoter, and he's like, yeah, sure. We'd love to have you guys. So we went down there and played. And right before we played, they had three bands. They got, like, progressively, like, filthier. Like, I can't remember the one band's name, but they were, like, full on. And the crowd was, like, loving every single second of it. So, and we were coming up next. I was like, we're fucked. Like, we don't have a single hard song that can compete with this. So we went up there and played our little cheesy music, and like literally like no claps, just like crossed arms staring at us.
Oh, that's the worst.
I'm like, oh. So and then I ended up getting out of there, but then my bass player, I guess, stayed and got drunk and started lifting people off, and wasn't the best time for Trash Ambulance. So I'm glad we powered through that.
Sometimes you have to. I've been there, man, where I've been in a situation with bands, and it's like one after another is just like hardcore and fucking crazy and going off and screaming, and then we get up there and we're like, thanks for nothing. It's just like, oh, like when they're supposed to be. Suddenly I feel like the kiddie band for a second. I'm like, oh man. But nowadays I would say I have a different vibe. Like now I just look at it and be like, nope, going for it, gonna be crazy. But yeah, dude, I've played for the crowd that decided they did not like me, and that was heartbreaking. I've even seen crowds where they were going for it and then they stopped and they got mad.
Well, they didn't like throw stuff at us, but it was just like
they tolerated you.
Like, did you ever see the Face to Face DVD when they say that how the fans reacted to their Ignorance is Bliss album with the middle finger and thumbs down?
Oh.
Pretty much what these guys are giving us.
This is not having it at all.
And I had to borrow an amp, I remember, and it wouldn't stop feeding back, so we had a few songs that had pauses in them, and it'd just be like, like, oh, it was just ugly all around.
Oh, that's the worst.
Well, builds character.
Yeah, it builds character. Any show you can walk away from.
Yeah, I kept all my teeth, so that was a plus.
Any show that you can walk away from and keep all your teeth is a decent show.
Yeah, file that as a win for sure.
Normally I'd come in sooner, but that song's so short I figured we'd just play the whole thing. You've been listening to Jawsh, Hotta, vocalist and guitarist for the band Trashed Ambulance. And you can find out more about Trashed Ambulance at their Facebook at facebook.com/trashedambulance. And you can hear Jawsh as he hosts the bi-weekly Punkanormal podcast at punkanormalactivity.com/podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in to 3 Gigs. Feel free to check out our website at 3gigspodcast.com to find extras and live footage of all of our guests, including Trashed Ambulance. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram just by searching 3 Gigs Podcast. And you can let us know what you think of the show and who you would like to see as a guest on the future, because we are listening. Well, I'm listening. It's me. I'm listening to you. So hit me up. Let me know. If you're enjoying this podcast, please take a moment to rate and review the show on the 3 Gigs podcast page over at iTunes. Just search us on the iTunes store. It's a huge help in getting the word out, and we are all about getting the word out. I know I ask it every time, but it actually does work, and you guys are really helping. Our theme music today is Kubi by Trashed Ambulance off the EP Instant, out now on Thousand Islands Records. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Dominic Davey, and this has been 3 Gigs. We will see you next time. If you listen to this podcast, chances are you like music. And if you like music, you probably wear a lot of t-shirts. Or at the very least, know someone who does. Well, why not get brand new, blank, fresh, clean t-shirts sent directly to you? Well, you can. FreshCleanTees.com works like a shave club. But instead of razors, they send you super soft, affordable t-shirts. And getting it all going is easy. You choose between monthly, bi-monthly, or quarterly delivery options, answer a few questions about your favorite styles, your size, and what colors you like, and you're good to go. Fresh Clean Tees likes 3 Gigs so much, they have a special offer for all of our listeners. You can head over to freshcleantees.com right now and use promo code GIG for 20% off your very first order. That's promo code GIG at checkout and get 20% off your first order. Now, I love the t-shirts they sent me, and I know you'll love yours. So head over to freshcleantees.com right now and use order code GIG while you can.